I honestly believe Jesus was one of the most toxic relationships I've ever had in the entirety of my life.
You shouldn't keep your magic in the dark. Like, this is your soul. You need to share it to the world.
Let it rain on me now. So be it. So it is.
I was a super Christian. I was raised in the church. I was a worship leader. I'm like singing all over the place and touring over here and crying out to God. How many times have I prayed to Jesus to show up for things that were actually needed and he didn't show up?
Melissa Whetstone grew up as a preacher's kid, but 12 years ago, she left the church. She says the community felt toxic and she didn't feel a personal connection to Jesus.
Hi, how are you? I need the frankincense and myrrh I see is here.
She eventually discovered Lukumi, a religion that was brought to Cuba by enslaved West Africans.
It's just a beautiful thing to be a part of. It's a beautiful community spirit. You're learning and growing with other people, so I really love it.
Black folks have left the church in higher numbers over the last decade than ever before, and younger generations are even less likely to affiliate with the church. But many young people are still seeking spirituality, and some are reviving traditions from Africa and the Caribbean through practices that connect them with their ancestors.
This is my boveda, or my altar. A few glasses of water. And that's just for my specific ancestors who watch and look over me. I have liquor that my uncle likes, gotta make sure he still get lit on the other side. I feed them, I talk to them, I spend time with them. Like, this is my place to be.
So can you talk about some of the differences in what you study now to what your relationship was with Christianity then? What are you getting out of Lukumi that you didn't find in the Christian church?
I get answers to my prayers. That I tell people that all the time. Like, when they're like, what's the difference? I'm like, because my prayers are answered. Like, that's one. When I come to my altar and I pray to my ancestors and I actually take my time to cry out, not only do I get responses, I get physical manifestations and answers.
You were born into a household where your dad was a pastor?
Yes.
How is that relationship with him now, and how did your family react?
I'm the black sheep of my family. I love my family to death. They love me, but we don't see eye to eye. They're like, girl, you're going to hell, you're going to burn. And I'm like, if I was going to burn, I'm pretty sure we'll be burning together.
Ironically, it is often because of that kind of religious conservatism that people move out.
Dr. Yvonne Chareau studies African and indigenous religions.
A lot of these religions came to the United States after the Middle Passage, after the period of slavery. Like other immigrants, they bring their cultures and their religions. But because when they come to the United States, they're often met with hostility, they tended to be secretive.
Can you talk about the role that social media has played? Because especially if we're talking about the younger generation, they might not be as dedicated to being ordained and, kind of doing all these rituals. But if I go up and down my timeline, now everybody's a witch, everybody's burning sage.
Prior to the turn of the 20th century, they utilized the internet or whatever media was available in order to be spiritual entrepreneurs. They would sell goods and services. They would treat clients and so forth. With the coming of the digital age, and in particular social media, I really feel like younger people are grabbing on to some of the digital trends where they can sort of brand themselves as practitioners. It's a kind of identity to be a part of this. So the internet and social media has certainly helped to popularize it, but I really do feel strongly that this is something of a movement in that young Black people, they are reaching back, they are recovering that which is ancestral, but they're doing it in their own way.
So do you want to light the candles? Should we do that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to actually carve my sigils in the candle because I have them here.
Majori is a 29-year-old fashion designer living in New York who practices witchcraft. She casts spells with a coven of other young witches.
We're making money jars. So we're adding different herbs that manifest prosperity, money, success. I feel like, Hollywood and like in the movies, they kind of like gave this idea that, magic was scary. And it's like, is this scary? It's not.
Would you consider this your religion as opposed to being Catholic?
Yes, definitely. Divination is my main form of like spiritual practice, but being Catholic too, it still like resonates and there's like some roots in there. I feel like Catholicism is extremely witchy. I mean, drinking the blood of Christ, the whole sacrament, that's a ritual. Like it is witchcraft. They just don't want to call it that. I just feel like we kind of need to get rid of that taboo mentality of like, this is something that is like evil or, harmful, because it's not at all. It's the complete opposite of that.
Do you feel like in the last 5 to 10 years or so that is happening?
Because of social media, there's a huge surge of giving a light to the divination community and like witchcraft and everything, and people are now being more vocal about their practice and being more comfortable expressing themselves and showing their craft, and I think that's very beautiful.
This is Ultra Magica, or crystals, coming out of the broom closet. So I have the Majori, the punk priestess, here in the flesh.
For many young spiritualists, the online community has replaced the one they might have had at church, but without the strict mandates that come with other religions.
I'm not the type of witch that likes to subscribe to rules. I just do whatever it is I please. If it doesn't fit the spell, I will improvise. It is what it is.
I feel like the rules, it's like oppressive. We need to have, the system. You have to be a certified like tarot reader. And it's like, I want to like dismantle and get rid of that, because that's not what healership really is.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. You don't have to subscribe to these rules, because like, who's telling you these things? It's again, like, have your own